Six Lessons on Raja Yoga by Swami Vivekananda. Third lesson. Kundalini. Realize the soul not as matter, but as it is. We are thinking of the soul as body, but we must separate it from sense and thought. Then alone can we know we are immortal. Change implies the duality of cause and effect, and all that changes must be mortal. This proves that the body cannot be immortal, nor can the mind, because both are constantly changing. Only the unchangeable can be immortal, because there is nothing to act upon it. We do not become it, we are it, but we have to clear away the veil of ignorance that hides the truth from us. The body is objectified thought. The sun and moon currents bring energy to all parts of the body. The surplus energy is stored at certain points, plexuses, along the spinal column, commonly known as nerve centers. These currents are not to be found in dead bodies and can only be traced in a healthy organism. The yogi has an advantage, for he is able not only to feel them but actually to see them. They are luminous in his life, and so are the great nerve centers. There is a conscious as well as unconscious action. The yogis possess a third kind, the superconscious, which in all countries and in all ages has been the source of all religious knowledge. The superconscious state makes no mistakes, but whereas the action of the instinct would be purely mechanical, the former is beyond consciousness. It has been called inspiration, but the yogi says this faculty is in every human being and eventually all will enjoy it. We must give a new direction to the sun and moon currents and open for them a new passage through the center of the spinal cord. When we succeed in bringing the current through this passage called Sushumna up to the brain, we are for the time being separated entirely from the body. The nerve center at the base of the spine near the sacrum is most important. It is the seat of the generative substance of the sexual energy and is symbolized by the yogi as a triangle containing a tiny serpent coiled up in it. This sleeping serpent is called Kundalini, and to raise this Kundalini is the whole object of Raja Yoga. The great sexual force, raised from animal action and sent upward to the great dynamo of the human system, the brain, and there stored up, becomes ojas or spiritual force. All good thought, all prayer, resolves a part of that animal energy into ojas and helps to give us spiritual power. This ojas is the real man, and in human beings alone is it possible for this storage of ojas to be accomplished. One in whom the whole animal sex force has been transformed into ojas is a god. He speaks with power, and his words regenerate the world. The yogi pictures the serpent as being slowly lifted from stage to stage until the highest, the pineal gland, is reached. No man or woman can be really spiritual until the sexual energy, the highest power possessed by man, has been converted into ojas. No force can be created, it can only be directed. Therefore, we must learn to control the grand powers that are already in our hands and by willpower make them spiritual instead of merely animal. Thus, it is clearly seen that chastity is the cornerstone of all morality and of all religion. In Raja Yoga especially, absolute chastity in thought, word and deed is a sine qua non. The same law applies to the married and the single. If one weighs the most potent forces of one's being, one cannot become spiritual. All history teaches us that the great seers of all ages were either monks and ascetics or those who had given up married life. Only the pure in life can see God. Just before making the pranayama, endeavor to visualize the triangle. Close your eyes and picture it vividly in your imagination. See it surrounded by flames and with the serpent coiled in the middle. When you can clearly see the Kundalini, place it in imagination at the base of the spine, and when retaining the breath in Kumbhaka, throw it forcibly down on the head of the serpent to awaken it. The more powerful the imagination, the more quickly will the real result be attained and the Kundalini be awakened. Until it does, imagine it does. Try to feel the currents and try to force them through the Sushumna. This hastens their action.